Maswali yamefunuliwa.
Okay. Highlight 6 ways in which an assessor would establish rapport with a client during an assessment section. I repeat, highlight 6 ways in which an assessor would establish rapport with a client during an assessment section. We can continue.
May I try? Yeah, first of all, we understand that rapport is that good relationship between the client and whoever is being assessed. So one, you create a friendly and welcoming environment. I don't know whether those are 2 points. Depending on the way you are going to explain them, you can get to or you write it as a 1 point.
Okay, thank you. So we can say one way is welcoming the client. Another way of establishing the rapport. Yes, James Gary.
By being polite as you handle the client.
Being polite as you handle the client. Thank you. Kate?
Being well organized and composed as you talk or interact with the client.
Well organized and composed. Thank you. Yes, Rosa.
Can we talk of you should be well groomed?
Very correct. Good grooming or properly dressed. It's very correct. Lucy Mwangi?
By calling his or her name.
By calling his or her name. Lucy, you want to add us another one? I cannot see any other hand. Okay, we can move to the next question.
Hildema.
Yes.
I have a question.
Ask please.
The first moment that you get that client, are you supposed like to show the person that you know his or her problems?
No. I think you should not show him or her that you know what has brought the person there.
Okay, because if you reveal, the person will try to like be withdrawn, sindio?
Yeah.
Sawa. That means now you are supposed to show the strength of that person. Sawa. Thank you.
Okay. Part C, explain 5 factors that would influence a researcher to use a questionnaire over other tools in collecting data. Explain 5 factors that would influence a researcher to use a questionnaire over other tools in collecting data. So in other words, ni kama tunaulizwa the advantages of a questionnaire over other tools. What are the benefits of using a questionnaire?
One advantage.
Yes, Kate, talk.
Actually, I wasn't the one who was talking, but one, it can send to distant respondents. That means that you don't have to be there so that you get the information. Me?
Agnes?
You can get reliable information and like other tools, for example, an interview whereby the interviewer may be biased or may lead you to giving answers that are biased depending on the way he has sided his question. Another one is that you can cover a big target or the target population. You can cover many people using questionnaires and like maybe interviews whereby when it is a matter of one-on-one, you just interview a few.
So you mean the information can be collected from many people?
Yeah.
Thank you. Another advantage of using a questionnaire? Yes, Kate?
It also allows confidentiality, meaning that you don't have to write your name on the questionnaire. So they are free to write anything.
Okay. You mean we have exhausted that one? Yes, James.
I beg that we look at that question keenly. It is talking about the factors that would influence a researcher to use a questionnaire. Although the answers that you are giving may be reframed to suit the question, I feel like we are stating them as though we have been directly asked the advantages, and it is talking about the factors. Meaning the target population, for example. I would wish that we look at it. The framing of the question.
Factors that would influence a researcher to use a questionnaire over other tools.
Yeah.
James, if you're targeting a big population, you would be forced maybe, or you would prefer to use questionnaire in order for you to get the information that you want from as much most people as possible. James, are you satisfied?
Not really.
May you help us to understand the question then?
Okay, my feeling is, while the question may be indirectly asking us the advantages, but the way we state those answers, the way we respond, because a question always has a keyword somewhere, and that is actually the question. So, for example, I may talk about the target population. That is a factor that may make me to use a questionnaire as opposed to other methods, without necessarily, going into the details that it may give me this and this. No. I don't know. Let other members give their views on the responses that we have given.
I can get you. Nimeanza kukupata.
Yeah, because every question has a keyword somewhere, and that is I feel that is that is the question. Right? Factors, 5 factors that would influence a researcher.
Members, are you getting what he's saying?
Let's hear the views of the other members, please.
Nani wanahema hivyo? Yes, 0036.
0036. With me, I concur with the Mwalimu who has just spoken. Even though I know the answer, but I think factors, whatever I've been mentioning, those are advantages of a questionnaire. But the question factors. So I concur with what Mwalimu is saying, who has just spoken right now. Personally, I don't know the answer.
Utajua tu. DSNE alafu atajiandika namba ingine hapo.
I believe the teacher who has said factors ako sawa kabisa. Yani ni kusema vipi? Kwa nini yule ambaye anafanya utafiti anafaa kutumia ameamua kutumia the interview ama ni questionnaire?
Questionnaires.
Yeah, why? The reason behind the intentions of using the questionnaire, not the advantages at all.
That is a question.
Sawa, tushampata. Haya, twende nalo. Ezra?
Firdema?
Yes.
I have a different opinion. And if then it's factors that, of course, will influence the researcher, why then compare with the other tools in collecting data? For me, I will still take them as the advantages.
Total confusion sasa.
Yes, in this case,
hata mara ya kwanza nilikuwa nimeielewa hivyo kabisa.
Because in this case we are they are saying, okay, explain 5 factors that would influence a researcher to use
a questionnaire
over other tools in collecting data. When it comes to advantages, remember we compare the tools that are used in research. So for me, I would have also taken it as advantages and not another issue.
What? Mr. Pascal.
Yes, Virdema.
Confusion. Save us.
Yeah, it is good we have given our responses, but now the question is explain 5 factors that will influence a researcher use a questionnaire over other tools in collecting data, in collecting data. In other words, we are measuring on a questionnaire as a tool of data collection, and we are comparing it with the others. Now, which others? The question is not very particular on which others, but here, the others may be the interview. Which others apart from the interview?
Observation.
Yes. Tests. Observation. Now, among others.
Checklists.
Yes, checklists. Now, in this case, the question is just, it's a very simple question, by the way, but it can make you run and get to the wrong direction. This question is asking which advantages is a questionnaire having over the other tools of data collection? Which advantages is questionnaire having that are standing tall when compared to the other tools of data collection? If you take it in that way, you are going to land safely. If you look at the factors, you will go round, and eventually you will not get the answers. Now, when we talk about the questionnaire as a data collection tool, it is very true that a questionnaire has advantages as compared to, for example, the interview. So when we are responding to this question, let us look at it in that dimension. Yes, Phildema.
Maybe to help James, bedhi mara ya kwanza tulichukulia kama advantages, but akatupeleka kwa factors na tukamfuata. Okay, maybe kama ingekuwa explain 5 factors that would influence a researcher to use a questionnaire, full stop, bila kuongezea hayo maneno mengine over other tools. Hapo sasa ndio tungeenda kwa factors only. Lakini sasa huu mstari wa mwisho, sana sana yale maneno ya kumalizia ndio yamengeuza hiyo story yote ya factors. Mimi ningemwambia hivyo.
Okay, so anyone else with the now let's look at the responses on the advantages, please. Yes, Vildema, did we take responses on all of them?
I think we had around 4. Ndio sasa tukakuwa na hizo tofauti.
Then if there were 4, then I think we can carry on so that we look at the other slide, as we are going to look at that also.
Yeah.
Identify 4 components of human blood. What are the components? Yes, Lokwe.
Yeah, plasma. Red blood.
Plasma. There is no other hand, so continue.
Red blood cells.
Okay, thank you very much. Red blood cells.
White
yes.
blood cells and platelets.
Okay, white blood cells and platelets. So he has mentioned the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the plasma, and the platelets. Justify the study of human blood. Sorry, justify, yes, the study of human blood by a first aider. Now, before we answer that question, I want to ask somebody to help us to understand Roman 2 of number 4. What is the question looking for? Roman 2 of number 4. What is the question looking for? What is, yes, Anthony?
Could it be the advantages of studying the circulation of blood by the first aider?
So you're saying it is the advantages of studying the human blood by a first aider. Okay, yes, Beatrice?
The reasons why it is important for a first aider to have the knowledge of human blood circulation.
Very right, very right. Now, so we justify why do you think it is good for a first aider to understand the circulatory system or the human blood circulation? Now, the question is now well framed. Now we can talk about it. Yes, whose hand is this? Yes, James.
You know, I think ideally the blood circulation is the one that helps aids the circulation of oxygen in the body. And it is oxygen supply is a vital element when it comes to first aid, because if somebody is unconscious, then probably there is a low supply of oxygen in their brain. That is one, according to me. I don't know. And secondly, we also know that platelets also aid the clotting of blood in case of an open skin. So again, depending on the type of injury, the first aider will be able to tell whether the casualty's blood is clotting or not. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the points that you've given. Thank you very much. Yes, Agnes.
Basing it on ABC of first aid, can we talk about saving life? When the first aider checks that the blood is circulating, he or she might be able to save life.
Absolutely. Yes, Anthony. Yes, Anthony.
My point there.
Yes.
I'm replying by saying a first aider,
yes,
who is not aware of the blood circulation process may end up causing further injury to the casualty when administering first aid. Maybe an example, if you are not aware that there is blood that is coming from the lungs, there is air that has to come to the lungs and then out. During resuscitation, then you can mess up with the casualty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Beatrice, be the last one to respond to that question so that we can move forward.
Okay, basing our argument on the 3 objectives of first aid, in order to prevent further injury and maybe to preserve life and promote recovery, one as a first aider must have the knowledge of first aid. This will even help you to know that it is the platelets that maybe will help you to make the blood to clot to prevent excess bleeding.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it is very important for a first aider to understand on the blood circulation in the body for various reasons that that have been mentioned. Julie, I can see your hand is up.
I have a concern. Well, after explaining the justification, does the question ask to be stated or to be described?
You can actually, when we talk about justifying, that is not a one-word statement. It is not a one-word answer. It has to be a statement, because if you have been asked to justify, it means you will state a point and give a backup on the same point, Juliet.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Analyze 5 categories of employment available for persons with disabilities within their localities. Analyze 5 categories of employment available for persons with disabilities within their localities. A question on CBR, module number 8. Yes, Lokwe, and then Agnes, then Beatrice. Lokwe?
They can be teachers.
They can be teachers. Agnes?
Logo kamenifanya nikuwe confused. Tukisema categories, hatusemi hizo za self-employment, sijui open market ama
sheltered workshops.
Hizo apprenticeship, something like that.
Agnes, what were you thinking?
You know now when Logweka has talked about teachers, okay, hiyo ni group moja, yeah. Sasa hao sijui wanaitwa aje, sijui kama sasa tutawaita employed kwa sababu kuna self-employed, alafu kuna sasa wale wako kwa sheltered workshops, kuna wale wako kwa open market. Hizo ni categories. Okay, vile mimi nakumbuka nikizisoma. Sasa sijui kama niko mbali ama sijui.
Fondation.
Okay, the rest, what do you think of the same question, please? I want us to talk. What do you think of the same question, Philema?
Yes, I was talking about any yale maswali about tumekuwa tukiyaona concerning that one ni career opportunities. So career opportunities ni tofauti na hiyo categories. Maana hii career opportunities tumezungumzia kwa muda. The career opportunities that can be undertaken by persons with disabilities. Sasa hiyo ndio tumezoea.
All right. So
AdSense, teachers, nini, vitu kama hizo.
Now, the one who was talking about the maybe sheltered workshops and employed, unemployed, is there somebody who has ever met this question directly? The way it is written here on the, maybe in one of the modules that we have.
Pascal, kindly repeat the question.
Analyze 5 categories of employment available for persons with disabilities within their localities. Categories of employment available for persons with disabilities within their localities. Yes?
No question iko sawa.
Yes.
Because employment opportunities and categories of employment, the same thing. So these people can be teachers, artisans, farmers, na haya mengine. I stand to be corrected.
Thank you very much, Mwalimu. Yes, Salome.
With me, I think there are sheltered workshops, apprenticeships, and those others.
Pascal?
Yes, yes, Agnes.
Stima zimepotea huku kwetu, lakini I think niko na hiyo module ya CBR mahali.
Yes.
So nilikuwa nimezisoma. Okay, introduce what they are saying as they introduce, they are saying that persons with disability can work in various fields. And like a long time ago, when people thought that they used to do, they do odd jobs in the village. So now they had grouped the four categories like my friend has just said. So hapa nikiona 5 categories, that 5th category is what I was asking. Sasa how teachers nurses, doctors, because there are those people with disability and we find them in hospitals, we find others in schools. Hao sasa ndio hawajagrupiwa sijui kama ni employed. But sasa hizo wame categorize hivyo zikiwa the 4 of them. We have open market now whereby imeelezewa people have what they need. For example, they only need some mobility skills for those ones who are visually impaired. Those ones who are physically handicapped only need to be given the wheelchairs in order for them to be able to work in the open market. And then now when it comes to sheltered workshops, of course, we have been talking about that time and time again. This is where they work along their other colleagues. For example, if it is in the carpentry department, somebody may be only there. This person with a disability may be only there to do sandpapering alone. And then now we have the apprenticeship, now where they observe as the others are. Maybe it is a renowned tailor in the community. So you have also trained as a tailor, you who has a disability. So you work together with that person. And then now there is the other self-employed, out tumekutana nao mpaka kwa streets, they sell their sweets, they can have their own shops and small factories, something like that.
Right. So I think, please, let's go and do enough research on this question so that we can get also the right direction. Please, if you are screenshotting or please go and do a research on this question so that tomorrow we can as well have the ones with the research that you will have done. I think that will also help us to save on time and also to be on the right track. Let's carry on now by looking at it is true, Jesus and your neck. So the distinction between assessment and evaluation as applied in education is that assessment is gathering of necessary information, analyzing that information, and using the results to make value judgment. You will have to gather the necessary information, you will have to analyze that information, and then you will have to make the value judgment with the information that you have. While evaluation, again, is the gathering of necessary information used to judge the suitability of a program. So the second one is now, once you have gathered the necessary information, you are going to use the information now to judge the suitability of a program, whether the program is suitable. And if the program is having some challenges, then what are going to be the recommendations? The first one, it is used to make value judgment, just making value judgment. But now in the second one, you are now going to use it to determine whether the program is suitable so that it can be rolled out, so that it can be kept running, or if there are necessary challenges, changes to be made with the recommendation that comes alongside with it. The other one, highlight 6 ways in which an assessor will establish a rapport with the client during assessment session. Number one, the assessor. Here we are looking at what must be in the assessor, what must assessor do to make sure that a relationship is established between him or between her and the client, the assessee down there. Number one is that he or she has to be polite. Remember that polite, if the words are going to be used in a polite way, then it will also encourage somebody to open up. He needs to be smartly dressed. Smartly dressed. You can imagine in a case where somebody has been forcefully, somebody has been pushed to a defilement case by a person who was a Rasta man, the Ras man, eh? And then he comes for she comes for some even guidance and counseling. He realizes that the assessor in this case is also the Rasta man. This is likely to cause some IQ to rise. So the assessor must be smartly dressed. He should also be friendly. And how is the friendliness of an assessor measured in the very first time he meets the client? How can the client know that the assessor is friendly and they are meeting for the first time? Yes, somebody can, the assessor show that he is friendly to the client during the assessment. Yes, Rosaida.
Can we talk of facial expression?
Yes, and what should be on the facial expression to show that the assessor is friendly?
You should be happy, even if you have your own issues.
Yes. Yes, you'll be happy, and even when the assessor himself or herself has issues. An assessor should also be well organized and composed. Well, we're saying in well organization, when you get to the place of assessment, how the office looks like, how the table is arranged, matters a lot, and that will tell you whether the assessor also qualifies for the responsibility or for the role that he is willing to undertake, among others. Now, here, where is it? Where is that question? I don't know whether this was visible. Let me try to enlarge it. So we have some of the advantages. Okay. Some of the advantages of using questionnaire over the other tools, and one of the factors is that it is economical, because it is an economical way of accumulating the information. So you realize that when you have the questionnaire and you give them out for people to fill them, you realize that you may spend less time, especially when there are deadlines. Especially when there are deadlines to be met. So in this case, they can be economical, and they can also cover they can be of wide coverage. They can cover a wide range, because maybe with the timing when you need them back. So it can also cover a wide range. It may also be, we also talk about the rapidity. The data can be collected rapidly because you only give them out and then maybe you may only need to collect them back, as compared to the interview where you have to take time with an individual who may sometimes be unwilling to let you know, let you gather the information that you want. Then suitable in special type of response, especially when a response is supposed to be specific, or maybe when the response is the response that is needed is a special one. It may also factor in the repetitive information, because while somebody will be filling them, there is a likelihood of one repeating himself or herself as a result. It is also one of the easiest methods, but again, it puts less pressure on the respondents, especially when you remember when you want the respondent to give you some information and they may be unwilling, or to some extent they may be very, very rebellious, and they may not want to give you the information. And again, there could be also the issue to go with uniformity. However, questionnaire also has some disadvantages. And we also need to know that the respondent may decide to write wrong information there as a disadvantage that it is also having. We have talked about question number 4 on the components of human blood. 4 of them: the plasma, red blood cells, the white blood cells, and the platelets. So there we may not take too much time. I managed to get to justify the study of human blood circulation by the first aider. And one is that it helps the first aider to understand the anatomy of the circulatory system. Helps the first aider to understand the anatomy of the circulatory system. It also helps the first aider to understand conditions affecting the circulatory system and how these conditions can be counteracted to make sure that the person is having a good life, or a kind of a stable life from the challenge that they may be having. Some other points I will also include there. Now, this question B, we want us to go and look at it so that tomorrow we can report here on this question, on the analyze categories of employment available for persons with disabilities within their localities. Therefore, I can see it is 10:14. I will request that we stop there. Today, at least, even though the net was a bit shaky, but I want to thank God that it was able to bring us this far. Finally, I would want us to pray so that we can go and rest. On behalf of Mr. Bernard, the Kenya Sign Language teacher, remember the classes begin at 8 and they end at 9 or some few minutes to 9. So those who are willing, you can as well join from 8 using the same link with the same passcode and the same logging in ID. So those details that you are using to get into this class, they remains the same as those for the sign language classes that begins at 8. I request somebody to offer us the closing prayer. Mary Gatanga, good evening.
Good evening too.
Umenyamaza sana my dear.
Silent follower for a while.
Ni sasa utuombe tukimaliza.
Sawa sawa, let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Almighty God, we come before thy presence this evening. We thank you God for a successful session that you have had.
Mary left before we said amen.
Pascal.
Yes.
Classes za Bernard zinaanza lini?
They started yesterday.
Oh, please Ebu inquire for us. Like for me, he was to begin a new class for those who had not joined. Whether he can do the same because ni mko mbali sana.
Okay, okay. And also Fildema, not Fildema, but Rosaida. You can as well get them through the YouTube because they was, most of them were recorded live. There is that which I've shared in the group for this class, which is just ending now. But the same link